Okay, so now up to chapter 31, verse 10. With Kol Arehem, Moshe and they captured the cities of the Midianites and all their tirotam, their palaces, sarfubesh, they burned through fire. Rashi says, actually, hey, Kobe, how you doing? The Rashi says their tirotam was their Makom Notarin Shalahem, the places of their notaries. But there's a different version of the text that says Makom Palaltarin Shalahem, the places of their palaces. Shua Shon Moshav Kamarim. This is where their priests live. Yodeh Chukeim, who know their laws. Alternatively, Lashon Moshav Sarayim, the places where their princes live. Turne Pushtai, Sarne Pushtim. Okay. So they burnt all their palaces. And they took all the booty and all the plunder by animals and humans. Rashi says, Magid Shayuk Sherem Tzadikim. They were kosher and righteous. And they were not suspected of theft. To lay a hand upon the spoils. Shalom Bereshut, without permission. Meaning to say, they took all this the booty, and what they do with it, they're going to bring it to Moshe. So they looted it, but nobody took anything for themselves. Well, we're in chapter 31, Colby, verse 12. Got it?
Yes.
Vayaviu al Moshe ve'Elazar Kohen v'adat b'nei Yisrael et hashvi v'et hamakoach v'et hashalal ha'machaneh el arvot Moab asher al Yordan Yericho. And they came to Moshe and to Elazar the Kohen and to the congregation of the children of Israel, and they brought to him the captives and the plunder and the booty to the camp on the plains of Moab, Asher al Yordan Yericho. Okay. Rashi says shalal is the movables, like the clothing. Baz is the spoils that are inanimate. She'inam tachshitin, which are not clothing. And makoach refers to Adamu Bema. That refers to the booty that was man and animals. But in the place where it says captives next to makoach, then shvi is ba'adam and makoach is ba'hema. Then the captives is the humans and the makoach is the animals. Okay, there. Verse 13. Chapter 31, verse 13. Vayitz'u Moshe ve'Elazar Kohen v'chol nesiei Adar l'kartam. And Moshe and Elazar the Kohen and all the princes of the community went out to greet them al mechutz l'machaneh, outside the camp. Rashi says, "V'fisha ra'u et na'arei Yisrael yotzim ha'chatof min ha'bizah." Why they go out? Because they saw that after they brought it all back, some kids were going out. And the kids can very easily become rebels. We see this terrible situation going on in Israel now. I don't know if people follow the news that there were some kids who rioted and stormed in a military base. So that terrible situation. So now verse 14. Vayiktzov Moshe. Hold on. Hold on. Vayiktzov Moshe, and Moshe was very angry. Moshe was very angry at the officers and the thousands. Moshe was very angry at the officers. Yes, sir.
This is maybe an intuitive question. I actually have no idea what this is, but there's like a samech verses in mind. What is the samech? It's like a loan.
Yeah, no, I know what it is. So Where is it between which verses?
It's between the words, yeah, Yarfu.
Yerecho and Vayetzel. So the Torah is two ways there are two basic ways of making breaks in the Torah. There's a pei and a samach, because the Torah doesn't have punctuation. So there's no way of knowing when a sentence ends except for the fact that we have a tradition. But what about paragraph breaks? So there's two types of breaks. There's one is signified as a pei, let's say it's a petucha, and then there's one that's signified by a samach, that's a setuma. So the pei basically is like when you press enter on the computer and it goes to the next line, means the line is opened. And the samach refers to the fact that it's less of a complete break. It's just it's like when you press tab on the computer and you're supposed to leave the samach, you're supposed to leave a space for 9 letters.
You're laning, you don't say anything.
No, you don't say anything, but it's usually the case that when there's a pei or there's a samach, that's where we make an aliyah break. So you see there's an aliyah break there because there was a space in the Torah, a gap in the Torah at that point. So that's the oldest form of breaks that we have in the breaking up the portion. That's the oldest form of it. The parashas are later than that because they never used to break up the parashas every year. Parashas used to be broken up. They used to finish the Torah every 3 years, not every year. So therefore, the parasha breaks are later than the paragraph breaks. There is one other type of break in the Torah, and there's only one other type of break in the Torah. Anybody know? It appears only. It only appears 3 times in the Torah. So that we just spoke about the Petucha and the Stuma. There's one other break that appears only 3 times. I'll give you another hint.
So it's not Vayibin Saron.
What is it, Rabbi Yosef?
Vayibin
Wait, I can't hear you.
Saron.
For some reason you're on mute. Okay, yeah. What is
Vayibin
it?
Saron.
Okay, Vayibin Saron, there is a break, but it's just a regular, it's just a break like the other Torah. It's just a break, but you're close. It's not Vayibin Saron. There is just a regular Petucha at the end. I think it's Petucha. No, the break appears 3 times at the end, once at the end of Bereshit, once at the end of Shemot. It's between Bereshit and Shemot, between Shemot and Vayikra. 4 times, Vayikra and Bamidbar, and then between Bamidbar and Devarim. So 4 times, we have a break of 4, a space of 4 lines between each of the books of the Torah. Those are the only breaks we have. Then there's there's also a break that appears twice in the Torah. There's another break that appears twice in the Torah. This is a different type of breaking that appears twice in the Torah. Just giving everybody the scribal lesson, even though you're not asking. There's a break that appears twice. Anybody want to predict what that is? I'll give you a hint. One is in Parashat Beshalach, and the other one is in Parashat Hazinu. And that is the break of when poetry is written. So the Gemara says that Az Yashir, the Shira, is written like brick on top of a brick. So that's how it's written with an unusual break. And Hazinu is written like 2 columns. So those are the only other breaks we have. Every other, I think that's it. I believe that's it. Okay, so we went on a little bit of a tangent, but now we're back on. Okay, got it, Eitan?
Yeah.
Moshe got upset at the officers, officers of the thousands, the hundreds who came from the army. And why was he so upset? Rashi says, he got upset with the commanders, Memunim al Achayil, those who are appointed over the soldiers. Lametcha shekol sarchon ador taloy b'gdolim sheyesh koach b'yadam lemchot. That every time a generation goes and does something wrong, who is responsible? The leaders of the generation, because they have the power to stop something. They had the ability to stop it, and they didn't. So therefore, it was their fault. Okay, now we're up to the verse 15. Vayomer Olam Moshe, and Moshe says to them, Hechayitem kol nekeva. Moshe says to them, have you allowed any girl to live? How you doing? Good. Akiva, you doing okay? You doing well? You doing good? Baruch Hashem. So Moshe says to them, have you allowed any girl to live? So, Haina, you have made Shabbat Var Balamum, Sormal Bashem Var Paor, Vatiamai Gefa Badat Hashem. They were the ones who caused the Bnei Israel to sin by the word of Bilam. And they were the ones that caused the plague. Meaning to say, and the Bnei Israel recognized him. They said, this is the one who caused them to stumble. This is the one who caused him to stumble. And they are the ones, the girls were the ones who caused the men to sin. And you might say, okay, we're just blaming the women. That's an old tried and true tactic, right? But that's literally what Rashi says. Amar lahem, that Bilam said to the Midianites, even if you gather the thousands of people in the world, you're not going to be able to overcome Bnei Israel. Because are you going to be, you think you're more numerous than the Egyptians who had 600 chariots? I'll tell you what to do. The Bnei Israel's God hates promiscuity. Sona zimahu. So therefore, cause them to sin with promiscuity. That was the way the Bnei Israel sinned, and that's why they had this plague. So this was a deliberate attempt to cause them to sin with promiscuity. You know what promiscuity means? It's when you do a sexual sin. Okay, so the verse states, V'ata, and now, Hirgu kol zachar bataf, v'chol isha yodat ish mishkav zachar arogu. Now I want you to kill, Rashi, the Torah says, every male, even a baby, and every woman who's ever known a man, you shall kill. Rashi says, it doesn't mean that she actually had to have been with a man. It means that she had to be capable of being with a man. How did they know? How did they know? How could they tell who was capable, who was old enough to have relations with a man? How would they know? So, what did they do? They had a technique. You know what their technique was? Rashi says, they would basically, they had to know who was over 3, because anyone over 3 they killed. So they would pass them in front of the tzitz. You know what the tzitz is? The tzitz is what? Yeah, yesterday it was used to cause the people who were flying in the sky to fall down. Today they would pass the girls in front of it in this Rashi. And anybody who was over the age of 3, your face would turn yellow. What's so funny? Oh. No, you like the teaching? I don't know. What? Oh, okay, fine. Anyway, so this is what the teaching was. So this is what it was being taught. So, okay. I mean, obviously, this is all deeply disturbing to the modern ear to hear, but this is the words of the Torah, and it gets everybody freaking out. So the Christians didn't like it, so they made a new Bible, called it the New Testament. And they said, we're replacing the old one, and we're just replacing it with love. But the reality is that you can't just live in a world where you pretend there's no war. We live in a world where there's a war. I mean, every single day of our lives, people are trying to kill us. And it's only because our boys and girls are strong in Israel that we're basically not being massacred in the streets right now. That's just the reality. So the Bible had it simpler, but it's the same world today. What? I'm not saying learning doesn't protect. I'm just saying that the people who are in Israel should be serving. And then in the free time studying Torah, but everybody has to serve. There's nobody who says, "Oh, let those boys die, and not the boys from our community." That's just offensive and deeply wrong, and it's a terrible thing. And it's a ziyuf Torah. It's a forgery of the Torah to say that we shouldn't be serving because we're studying Torah. It's a obligatory war. I mean, if I was younger right now, I would go. Oh, you're right. In the time of the Torah, they would send back anybody who wasn't religious, who felt that he had sinned. They would send him back from battle. Exactly. Ah, very nice, very nice, very good. Akiva with the W. Okay, so he says anybody who what Akiva said, in case you didn't hear it, is Akiva said not only should the religious not be exempt, they should be the ones who have to serve, because if they're the purest and the holiest, they should be the ones on the front lines.
But they're sinning by
Okay.
not going, so that's why they're home studying
Oh,
Torah.
so he says, no, you're sinning by not going, so therefore they can't serve. It's okay. Right. Okay. So anyway, so he says, Rashi says that all the boys, all the women who know men, you have to kill. Why does it say kill a second time? To make a pause. This is the words of Rabbi Yishmael. Because if I read here who calls Zachar, kill every male, v'kol isha yodat ish, and every woman who knows a man, and all the young children, I don't know about every woman who knows whether you're supposed to kill them with the males or to leave them with the children. Therefore, it says harogu at the end. Just no ambiguity. Make sure you kill them. But if you have a female who's younger than 3, you didn't know a man, you could let them live. Verse 19. Then anybody who killed a person has to camp outside the camp for 7 days. Whoever killed a person, whoever touched a dead body, it has to be purified on day 3 and day 7. By the way, I saw somebody sent me this week. Do you know that there are now around 5 red heifers in Israel? They have the red heifers. Do you know about that? 5 of them. Now, to bring a para aduma, you do not need a Beis Hamikdash. The para aduma is not brought on in the temple, and it's not brought on the mizbeach. To purify people with the red heifer, you don't need any of that. You just need to go on Mount of Olives. You don't even need a Kohen Gadol. You just need a Kohen. Yeah. You can send Elon over there and he doesn't even need to slaughter it. A Kohen doesn't need to slaughter it, he just needs to sprinkle it. We could send Elon over there and have him sprinkle us. Yeah. I'm not.
Maybe that's why they buried everybody in Har Zaytim, to prevent us from doing it.
Oh, that's why everyone's buried on Har Zaytim?
Say a Kohen can't go to Har Zaytim without becoming Tameh himself.
They usually, most of these, I haven't been to Har Zaytim, but I mean, I was there one time, but I didn't look. Usually, most of these cemeteries have a derech kohanim in Israel. Most of the cemeteries in Israel have a path for the kohanim to go and be safe.
During the 19 years that the Jordanians were in charge, they used actual matzevas to pave the road there, so nobody knows anymore where it is and where it isn't. Meaning that it's mamash almost like
Matzeva is not a tombstone is not tamei. It's not a dead body.
They dug it up and flattened it for the road, and
you mean
I don't know.
They don't know where it's actually a cemetery.
Yeah.
So you're saying the problem is the Kohen can't actually get there.
Unless we want to destroy the Mormon Center, and then that's for sure not.
Is that the issue now? The issue is that we can't actually get to the
I don't know if that's the issue. I'm just saying I never thought about this option, but it sounds like a big problem.
I feel like if they could figure out a way to get 5 red heifers, they could figure out a way to get to the Temple Mount, to get to the Mount of Olives to slaughter it. I think that they could pass through that. What you could do is, there's a way to do it. You go in a car, which is hermetically sealed and with a metal car, and that way you can't get tumor on it. There's a way to do it. Yeah, you could go in like a sealed vehicle. Like you get one of Elon Musk recently released a cyber truck. You go in the cyber truck and you'll be good. You'll be good. Why?
Terrorism. Yeah, you can't go to Israel.
Why can't they just make it illegal for the terrorists? Don't you think that would be better?
Because terrorism, is that? Yeah, for random people. I'm sure why. I think it's something to do with terrorism.
Because I think it would be very good. Like if you live in the Shtachim and you have like you're worried about being shot, you could just get one of these cyber trucks and you'd be safe.
Yeah, I think it's a good thing that.
I agree.
I think it's just.
Maybe you just need a license to get it, like you need a gun license.
Do a background check, make sure you're not.
Yeah, maybe they can make it, they could just make it illegal for people who are not citizens.
Or get in.
Yeah, they could do something, but
They just come out of the fountain, and it was one of the guards of Onion that gave them up.
probably somebody did. They were offering them millions of dollars. They probably like, okay, I
Yeah.
got my retirement plan now, my time to check out. Okay, so, all right, so Rashi says, the next verse says, you have to go outside the camp. Our mayor says, we're talking about somebody who kills with something that can contract tumah. Meaning to say, he kills with a utensil, which transmits it to a person by being connected to the dead body. And it's as though he's touching the dead body himself. So basically, you killed with the sword, the metal sword. And since the metal sword is touching the dead body, the metal sword becomes like the dead body, and he's holding it. That's the way it becomes tameh. But not if he shoots an arrow or and kills him, because that's not touching it. So it's basically only by actually touching it. So, and then how do you become purified? With the waters, the main nida, which is the waters of the red heifer. Okay. But Rashi then points something out. Rashi points out something very important. This is relevant, that a Jew will make a Kohen Tameh whether he touches the dead body or if he's in a room with the dead body. But a non-Jewish dead body will only make you Tameh if you touch it, not if you're in the same room with it. So that's a big difference. Okay, so now we come to the next verse.
Rabbi,
Yes,
could you just back that up? Just say that again, because I'm not sure what order. I didn't get it.
okay. So a dead body will make somebody tameh, become ritually impure. But there's a difference between if the way the tumah is transmitted. If the dead body was a Jewish dead body, then it transmits the tumah if you touch the dead body or if you're in the same room as the dead body. But if it's a non-Jewish dead body, then if it's what's called tumas oel, just being in the same room, that does not transmit to tumah. It's only if you touch the dead body directly that you become tameh.
Okay, is that for a Kohen too?
That's actually very important for today. It's really relevant for a Kohen. So what Rashi is saying is, so let's say a Kohen, if he knows that there's a non-Jewish dead body in the building, he wouldn't need to leave. It's only if there's a Jewish dead body in the building, he'd have to leave. But he can't touch the dead body of the non-Jew. He can only touch the dead body. He can't touch the dead body of the non-Jew, but he is allowed to be in the same room as the dead body. And there are some who say, no, you still can't be in the same room as the dead body of the non-Jew, but this is the way we rule, that the dead body of the non-Jew only transmits the ritual impurity by touching it, not by being in the same room as it. Okay, so and that's on
Thank
that,
you.
I'll put, yeah, sure. Let's stop our recording here. And it's